Hi, my name is Chelsea, or Chang Si Gu. Today I'm going to talk about my life. I was born in Nanjing, China, May 27th, 1987. That's southern China, and I lived there till I was 6 years old with my mom, my grandparents. My dad left for the States early to work on his master's degree. I was 6 years old when I came to the United States. I lived with my mom and my dad in small apartments, and I had a pretty happy life in Salt Lake City, Utah. I played with my cousins, and my aunt and uncle were living there, and we had a pretty happy life together. We would make trips, and I'm very grateful to them for what they did because they brought a lot of happiness to my family that couldn't have happened without them. When I was 10 years old, my parents decided to get a divorce for a myriad of reasons, and my dad came to New York to look for a job. My mom thereafter came after him and brought me along with him to finalize the divorce. It was a very hard and troubling time for me because I was in a lot of turmoil inside. I didn't know what was going on, why they were getting divorced, and why I had to choose. I had to write a letter to a judge, and I felt so hurt because I chose to be with my mom because I had to make a choice. They were getting a divorce, and I felt like I would be missing my dad a lot, and it's true. For the next maybe 10 or 11 years, I didn't have a relationship with him, and I see that this was just my fate and my destiny and how God works in His way to make me who I am today. When I was 13, I developed bulimia. I had anorexia too. The eating disorder was very, very severe, and for the next 7 years it was like this. I was institutionalized in school upstate New York where they offered me treatment, and I would stay there and be with other girls around my age who also had similar issues. That didn't help, unfortunately. In the end, I still felt very alone and empty, and like I was seeking something, and like I was never full, even with people living with me in a house, and I always had companionship and staff around me. I just never felt easy. I never felt relaxed. I never felt like I had companionship. I never felt like I was with people who understood me and who loved me for me. This was a similar case in Connecticut when the first school didn't work out. I was sent away to Connecticut, and for 3 months I didn't return home. They had us locked down in order to treat my bulimia, but in the end I still wasn't cured, and I was lost, and I felt alone and empty and weak once again after all this time and all this money.
How old are you at this time?
I'm 22 years old right now.
No, but how old are you when you have all this experience?
Right up until now, I'm 18 years old. 18 to 19 years old.
What about the previous experience with Christianity?
Oh, yes. When I was 10 years old, I was sent away to a Christian camp in order to put faith in me, I think. My mother's friend wanted to give me a Christian faith because I wasn't religious at all. And I was baptized at the camp. I felt one with Jesus. I loved Jesus. I felt like He would save me from eternal hellfire and gave me salvation. But when I went home, my mother said, "You can't love Jesus. You have to love me." And that broke my heart. I was heartbroken, so sad, and felt alone once again after my parents' divorce and some struggles. Oh yes, Catholicism came once again into my life. I was accepted into a Catholic college because when I was away at Connecticut, one of the girls who was a staff there, she said, "You should apply and come to my school. It's called so-and-so in Massachusetts." And it was a very nice school. It was a beautiful campus, very helpful people, very good, prominent children from good homes and families. They'd grown up happy and, from what I could see, intact and whole. But I don't know why, amidst all this wealth and all this company and all these children, I felt alone. And I couldn't communicate with but one friend. And we pretty much spent all our time together. But in the end, for reasons, God willing, I dropped out, and I wasn't able to continue the Catholic faith in that way.
What was missing at this time?
What was missing was love and understanding and compassion for myself, I think, and for others. And I was extremely naive, and I was searching for love and a purpose in material things and worldly things, not in godly things. And I couldn't find it anywhere. The environment was a pretty environment. It was a beautiful environment, but I had seen these environments before. For example, when I was younger, my family and I would travel around the country. We went to Yellowstone, we went to Grand Canyon, Arches National Park, Seattle, Las Vegas, and all these places are beautiful, same as my school. But in the end, I was lacking something, and fundamentally, I was missing something from the Creator. I didn't believe in Allah at that time. I had no idea about Islam. Islam is maybe the only religion that was never presented to me. Oh, well, I felt much like a prisoner, even though the environment was beautiful. We had trees, we had grass, we had little kittens even. We had a fountain, we had a beautiful wooden house, 2 levels. We would have therapy in these very beautiful, elaborate rooms, very rich, very lush, very luxurious. It was like a vacation spot. Like many of the parents, they would come and visit their children who were there, like me. My mom would come and visit, and she would say, wow, this is just like a vacation. And it's hard for me to understand what they meant, but I know what they meant. They were looking at the material things, and I wasn't. Something else was lacking. I had material things before, and I still felt empty. I was still searching. After Connecticut, immediately I left I was doing some bad things there, and I wasn't following the program, so I felt like I couldn't face myself there anymore, so I left the program and everybody who was trying to help me there. And I took up a job waitressing. And in the first week, I met my trainer, and he became my first serious boyfriend for the next 2 years, almost exactly 2 years. At first, I felt madly in love with him because I thought that was it. He was my life. He was the one. But in the end, it was all empty because our relationship, it was based, for me, it was probably based in money and in him being a man, but not in anything else. I didn't search for him, and I wish I had, because I felt like he really is a good person, but I missed that. I didn't know what I was looking for. I was still looking for material things. I was still looking for the money and the drugs we were doing and his status in terms of like his friends, and because he was older than me, and so he was a supervisor in different restaurants and he was a manager in different restaurants, and I loved him for that and not for his soul or his heart, or and I miss that to this day. It's a sad thing that I missed out on, but God willing, it led me to other things, and it's made me a stronger person, I think. After the relationship didn't work out, so many things happened during the relationship. Like, I got pregnant, and then I couldn't keep the baby because I was insecure at the time. I mean, I probably could have. If I had more faith, I think I could have kept the baby in reality. My mom would have backed me up. My dad definitely would have backed me up, but I was so alone at that time. I lost everything. I lost all my family. I lost all my friends. I didn't talk to anyone because I was, I think, ashamed and guilty for all the sins that I was committing, and I didn't admit that to myself or anyone for 2 years, and that's how I got myself into that mess for 2 years. And I think I put him in kind of like a hellfire as well, along with myself. And so I came from nothing. I shaved my head, and he said, that's it, you're done. And I was done. And so we were living in a different state, and my mother, she was called up by his family, because we were living with his family in a different state. They were called up, and my mom was called up, and she came to get me, and I was so pathetic. I was lying on the floor with just very thin clothes on. I was in pieces. I had no hair. I'd shaved all my hair off, and I was lost. I didn't know what was going on with my life. I didn't know where I was going or how I would have to repay for all my sins. It was at first like I thought I found ecstasy, but I thought I'd found heaven, but in the end, it wasn't it. It wasn't real. It was all pretty much based on lies and naivete and insecurity and emptiness. In the end, I still felt empty. So after that, my mother, she came and saved me from that situation. We went back to her house in Queens, New York, where I've been living ever since. This has been about 1 year and 3 months since I was rescued from that experience. I went to Queens College. It's a city university of New York. And there I just took classes. You know, the first semester I took 3 classes because I couldn't handle anymore. And the second semester I was taking 5 classes. I thought, okay, you can challenge yourself a little bit more. I was still seeing like a psychiatrist, and he was giving me meds, like lots of meds. Ever since I've been back from out of state, from my ex-boyfriend, I've been taking like psychotropic medications to help with my mood because I was hospitalized like 3 or 4 times, weeks at a time, you know, because the doctors felt like I needed like help. They didn't know how to help me, and you know, in the American society, you know, when you're institutionalized, that's what they do. They force meds on you, and that's what I've had to deal with ever since. And I'm still taking my medication to this day, although I'm trying to take less of it because I feel stronger than before. At Queens College, I was still searching for love and for purpose, and you know, why I keep going on in life. You know, things are just like what they are: jobs, money, people. But in the end, like material things just left me so empty inside. A friend invited me to a Muslim sister area inside Queens College. It was like in the student union, and she introduced me to her friends there, and you know, we would just sit around, we would talk, like, you know, and soon after that she said there's a teacher who used to teach here, he used to speak for us, and you know, pretty much she was saying like I was touched by what he was saying, and he's really wise and he's a really good teacher, like you could learn from him, because she felt I was lost. She you know, she knew I was lost and I was searching for something. So I met this brother Ahmed, and his wife Amira, and they were really kind to me. They showed me like sincerity. They showed me real. They showed me like real, not fake people behavior. Like it was what it was. They showed me kindness. They showed me a lot of charity, and compassion and giving, and I was drawn to their goodness and their kindness, and so I kept coming back. And eventually I reverted to Islam and became a Muslim, and this is from what I'm speaking today. Like, this is May 31st, 2009 p.m.
What's your name now?
It's Aziza Shams Uldin Noor Al Huda.
Aziza Shamsuddin Noor al-Huda. Do you know what it means?
It means dear, powerful, son of guiding light, lover, or light of guidance.
And what is your goal in life and how you feel compared to the past?
My goal in life is to remain calm and true and spread the word of Allah and be compassionate and understanding and humble towards my fellow mankind. And compared to before, I was completely lost. I had no goal in life. I didn't know what goodness was. I didn't know love, how to love myself first before I can love others. Before I felt weak, I felt so naive. I felt empty. I felt hurt. I felt broken and just lacking in so much.
And how you feel now?
Right now, I'm at peace. I'm relaxed. I feel like I'm one with God, Allah, mashallah, and inshallah.
Are you happy?
Yes,
Do you feel stronger?
I do. I feel 100% stronger.
Do you have
Because-
security?
Yes, I feel like Allah will provide me with all that I need in this life and hereafter.
Do you have a doubt?
Not about myself or my mission, no, or life, or in the life hereafter.
What is your advice to all the girls in your age, American or Chinese or any of mankind?
My message is to be good, and to be calm, and to be hopeful, and to always have faith.
But be real. How you ask people to do that when you fail to have it for many, many years?
Well, I feel like my sister, who showed me to Islam, she led me the way of Islam, and it was a journey for me. And throughout the journey, I found goodness. I felt faith. I felt patience. I felt like life, it's a metaphor. Like you have to build strength, and you have to build capacity, and you have to build power in order to do good and to spread goodness. And in the end, it's so powerful and it's so beautiful.
Where you get it from?
Got it from nature. Brother Ahmed and his wife and a few friends, we drove to a national park. And in the park, we were shown a waterfall from this very, very small little stream of water in mud. Was just staying there, doing nothing, or so it appeared. And we followed it slowly, and slowly we saw that it had so many obstacles to go through, like rocks or trees that had fallen down. This water had to go through it and build strength and build capacity and power and momentum before it could become a waterfall in the very end, you know? It had to go through like many jumps, you know, and through each jump it was a fall, but the fall created more strength and more power, and each fall just created more capacity and momentum until the end, when it was all gushing out, and it was the most powerful and beautiful waterfall I had ever seen. And that's not the end. Like, when the waterfall stays there at the bottom and you see it, and it's in all its glory and all its beauty, it carries on. It doesn't just stay there. It builds more brooks, and it builds more little canals, and it leads to other places to do other good things for other lands and going through other obstacles. So like another cycle begins in life.
What is the message and lesson from all this experience?
The message, part of it, is to be patient and to move forward because the past is past, especially if it was a mess. It's past. And going forward, I feel like if you change yourself, you can bring goodness and peace and happiness to yourself and others.
What you learn from the waterfall compared to your life?
Waterfall is like an analogy to my life, I think, because with each fall, I felt like I had fallen. And the obstacles were like obstacles in my life, through, just, the misfortune and the parents' divorce and the drugs and just all these different obstacles, status, being Asian American, but not really, not finding your place. Those are all obstacles that I had to go through. And I'm sure there will be more obstacles to come, like in the waterfall. But in the end, there will be peace and a lot of goodness and beauty and just everything good.
What makes you sure about that?
Well, I think it's a journey of faith. You have to continue to believe in goodness and the help of others. And I take it day by day. I think it's a journey of faith. I can't see the future, but I know it's one of goodness if I believe.
Do you think you can go back to the same what happened to you in the past?
No, I can't, because it's like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or even 2 steps back. You can't have weakness, you can't have strength, more strength than weakness, because you'll just be going back and you won't be going anywhere. So no, I cannot go back. My past was a mess. I can only go forward, look to faith, and look to believing in goodness in order to move on with my life.
From the people you were associated with them before in the past, what you learn from that? What you learn from the relationship with different people in your life and how they affect you, good or bad?
Someone told me that a person is like leaving a footprint or like a thumbprint on you. They can do good or bad. And people in my life did that. They left prints on me, both goodness and badness. And the badness affected me. It made me bad. And I don't want to be bad anymore. So I kind of took a vow with myself not to associate myself with those people, negative people who would bring me down, leave negative prints on me. I decided, no, that's it, I'm finished. It's only goodness from now on, and positivity.
By this way, you can advise the young people the importance of the companionship and whom you associated yourself with.
Most definitely. The company you're associated with, it's like we all have different energies and we all are contagious. And so if you're with bad people who are like a virus or a flu, they'll contaminate you and they'll make you sick. But with good people, warm people, good-hearted people, you'll become more like them. You'll become like them. You'll be a lover and not a hater.
What you advise Chinese American to mankind, especially those who fear Muslim and people with beard, especially the first time you meet this brother?
I think that the important thing is to look beyond the surface, to look at someone's soul. I think it's easy to do that if you open your heart and look into someone's eyes and you can feel their energy and their goodness. And also to look at their actions. If they do what they say they're going to do, they're not liars. They're good people. And you can judge for yourself whether or not people with beards and Muslim people are good or bad. The important thing is to look at the heart and the soul and not the appearance. This is very important.
Do you have a final thought to all the young girls like you?
I just want to say, please believe in Allah, the Creator, because He will bring goodness to your life, here and thereafter.
What about one time you tell me about you're scared of knowledge, you're scared of change? What do you think about that?
I think I was being ignorant. I think ignorance creates fear, and fears generates animosity and violence. And so seek knowledge, seek wisdom, seek the truth. You will find happiness and peace.
How you know it is the truth?
Through investigation. I asked Brother Ahmed to explain to me the creation of mankind, and he gave me this analogy, because I was confused with evolution. I was always taught that evolution was the non-religious way of looking at how things came to be. And he gave me a very simple story of a boat in this remote part of a jungle where people didn't have knowledge of science. And he said, look at this boat. It just appeared out of nowhere. A tree once decided to crack and lay itself down with the timbers and the nails and said, here, I'm a boat. I created it all by my own. That can't be. And if something as simple as a boat didn't just create itself, how did mankind just create itself? Like, we just popped out of a monkey one day. A monkey said, oh, okay, I'm going to be human. You know? And through reading, I read there's lots of books out there where it can educate you about Islam and what their teachings are. I read about things with clouds, things with waves, the mountains, how these things were created and how they function and how they're perfect systems and they don't just work on their own. Somebody is perfecting it, and it's the Creator.